Hey everyone, this is Sarah Waters again with another episode of Too Beautiful to Be Broken. This week's podcast is going to be a special episode. If anyone needs to talk to me, please call me at 951-208-4709, or you can always email me at sarah.waters@aol.com, and I will answer any messages. Tonight we're going to revisit suicide, and we're going to add bullying into the discussion, because today's topic is very, very important. If anyone is struggling with suicidal thoughts or thoughts of hurting yourself, please reach out to a friend, your pastor, or send me a message. But if you're in a place where you're feeling backed into a corner and like you don't have another choice, please reach out to the suicide hotline at 800-SUICIDE, 784-2433. Tonight it is with a somber and very heavy heart that I tell you that a young lady at my daughter's school, only 14 years old, took her own life on Sunday, June 9th. I didn't know her very well. I'd seen her a lot around the school. On a field trip in 6th grade when we went to Knott's Berry Farm, I sat next to her on the bus on the way there and on the way back. Very cute little girl, but a little different. And there's a lot of things that I heard people say at the school about, her being different. It wasn't until after that trip that I learned about some of the things that she'd gone through in her life. One of the teachers was telling me, that she'd been through a lot. She couldn't give me any details or anything, obviously, but she did tell me that the little girl was living with her grandmother as a foster child, and that she'd been through a lot. So that's why today I want to address suicide and bullying, because this is a tragic and senseless thing that a child this young got to such a place that she felt like the only option she had left was to take her life. I know that she had a lot happen in her life, and that is truly heartbreaking. We can't choose the families that we're born into or the circumstances within those families. If we looked around the room at the people that we were with, if you're in a group of people, probably 20% of them at some point in time will attempt or complete a suicide. They say that every 100 minutes a teenager commits suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in college students, the third leading cause of death for youth ages 10 to 24, and the fourth leading cause of death for youth 10 to 14. And it's preventable. Suicide is not something that you necessarily choose to do. It happens when the pain that you're in succeeds the resources that you have for coping with the pain. It breaks my heart to think that this beautiful life, this 14-year-old young lady, felt she had no other way out. It could have been as simple as somebody just reaching out to her and, befriending her, or maybe just not saying something nasty to her. All of us deal with different things in our lives that make us depressed or feel like we're unworthy or unloved or unlovable. All that's normal. It's not only normal for teenagers, it's normal all the way up into adulthood. We all deal with things like that, and we try to deal with them to the best of our ability. When you have people that are molested as children, or go through domestic violence situations, or lose a parent very young, or whatever the circumstances may be, everybody has things to go through. We should never look at or judge anybody until we've lived a day in their life. We always think that we have things so difficult and that our life is so horrible, but we don't realize what other people are going through, and that I used to always tell my kids, no matter how bad you think you have it, somebody out there has it worse than you. And that's true. So many people in this world, in this life, live through so much more than we do, but we get it in our heads that what we're going through is the worst thing in the world. And a lot of that comes from bullying and peer pressure. As a society, we tend to be very judgmental of each other. we look at each other trying to find the faults in them. Because I think we see the faults in ourselves, and so it's easier to pick on and find the faults in somebody else to make sure that they know what's wrong with them, so maybe they won't look so hard at what's wrong with us. Instead of embracing the good in each other and showing each other our own strengths, we beat each other down. We should be building each other up and showing everyone the amazing things that we see in them. We should be, pointing out the good stuff that we see and pointing out the beauty. And they should be doing the same in return. If we could do that, if we could build each other up instead of knocking each other down, the mental health in our country would be on an entirely different plane than it is right now. Because we don't understand or see that bullying and belittling has a lasting effect on the people that it's done to. It leaves scars that last a lifetime. Someone that experiences being bullied on a regular basis, their risk of taking their own life increases significantly. Suicide is a complex public health problem. We think that it's just within our homes or whatever. It's huge. It involves everybody in the community. And it's time for us to start taking the problem in hand and making some changes. We know it's proven that children that are more connected to their school are less likely to become suicidal. Because other than home, that's the only place that they know and are comfortable with. So how do we do that? What does that look like? First, I think that our teachers need to get more training on what to look for. Bullying and suicide is almost at an epidemic level right now, and I think the only way to fix that, especially in the public school systems, is to train our teachers what to look for in our kids. In public school, teachers are so overwhelmed because they've got such huge classes that I think that they don't take the time that they used to reach out. It could make a difference in a child's life to address them by name every day, to ask them how they're doing, what's going on. And it's not, you don't have to talk to 30 or whatever kids every day, but the ones that you can see are struggling a little bit, make a little bit more effort to reach that child. Our kids need to learn coping skills, healthy ways to problem solve, and they need to learn them early. Because if they learn them when they're young, they're less likely to bully or to allow somebody else to bully them. As schools and teachers, we need to help them figure these things out. We need to make sure that when we're talking to them, that we use messages to empower them, messages to show them that they're accepted, how to embrace the differences in others and in themselves. Each and every one of us are beautiful in our own ways. We think that, they're not cute, or they're beautiful, or it's all in the eye of the beholder, and we don't have a right to tell somebody what we think's wrong with them unless we're okay with them telling us what they think is wrong with us. So we need to start early, and we need to work with them in elementary school to show them coping skills, problem solving, resilience, social intelligence, and we need to show them what empathy is and how to encourage positive mental health and pro-social behavior. How to get along with each other, not pick on each other, not form little cliques and ignore people. They have to learn how to interact with people in a positive way. And that's even the people that maybe they don't get along with. Learn how to coexist without making each other's lives, someplace they don't want to be. Now, youth with disabilities and anyone that deals with gender issues or is struggling with their sexuality are at a much, much, much greater risk of being bullied. So we need to train our teachers and all the staff at the schools, how to recognize what bullying behavior looks like, or what to look for in a child that's being bullied. We need to teach them how to safely intervene in a situation. If they see one or they think they see one that's getting ready to start, constructive ways to step in and diffuse the situation before it goes any further. There needs to be very strict and stringent anti-bullying policies at every school that need to be 100% enforced with no excuses or no letting anybody slide. They need to be very, very harsh. We also need to pay attention. If youth come to us, one of our students come to us, or one of the other staff, and we report, they report being bullied, the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you believe what they're telling you and send them to the appropriate person for help, the school counselor, the principal, whoever it is that you have in place at your school to deal with these things. And the help should be offered not only to the child, but the child's family, because this is very serious stuff, guys. Bullying victims are 2 to 9% more likely to attempt suicide. 10 to 14-year-old girls are the most at risk. So 10 to 14-year-olds and girls are the people in our society that are the most at risk. That's a scary thought. 30% of students are either bullied or bullying someone. That's a lot of kids. 160,000 kids stay home from school daily because of the fear of being bullied. That's just crazy. 160,000 kids because they're afraid of being bullied. This is an epidemic, guys. We gotta seriously quash this. So some of the warning signs of somebody that's being bullied are depression, which could look like ongoing sadness, withdrawing, not wanting to talk to anybody, losing interest in the things that they used to really enjoy, trouble sleeping at night, maybe trouble eating, significant weight loss, or on the other hand, significant weight gain, because some people, when they're stressed, they eat more. Talking about or showing interest in death or dying, doing dangerous or reckless things, like kind of on purpose to get hurt or to actually almost get killed, accidentally stepping too close to the road, things like that, just that would point, because if something went wrong with that, this person could die. Change in behavior, use of any kind of drugs or alcohol, signs of self-harm. If you have a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader who is wearing their jacket constantly, or a turtleneck, or on 100-degree days is still wearing long pants and socks, chances are you have a child who may have cut marks on their arms or their legs. Kids that give away their favorite possessions or are saying goodbye, saying or expressing that they can't handle things anymore, which I myself have said, sometimes I just think the world would be better if I wasn't here. So I know what that feels like. Making comments that things would be better if they just weren't there. So we need to take all threats or suspicions of suicide very seriously. We need to keep weapons and medication locked up. Parents and teachers should encourage kids to talk about what's going on. Parents, and we need to pay attention to any and all signs of being bullied or students bullying. And if it's suspected, the parents should contact the school and get the situation solved before it gets out of control. So if you see anything in your child that makes you suspicious that they're being bullied, or that they're having possible thoughts of taking their life, you need to go to the school. And if you can't get satisfaction at the school, go to the school board, because it's serious enough that it needs to be addressed immediately by someone in authority at the school to get it solved. And I think if we could get some very, very tight control on the schools, it might some of it might start to resolve itself a little bit. And children learn by example, and I think sometimes that we as teachers need to make sure that we overemphasize the good things in people so that kids see and strive to be better instead of worse. They strive to be pleasant to each other. And sometimes it's just as simple as the teacher showing an example of that. Talking to a class of 30 kids and you've got kids that are goofing around, well, make sure you point out the ones that aren't. Give them some positive reinforcement and, boost their self-esteem a little bit. I think we can all tell, our kids that are quieter and don't want to really be involved in anything, and we need to make sure that we're encouraging those kids and giving them, the love and attention that they need to let them know that they are important and that they are enough, and they don't have to end their life to get away from the things that people are saying or doing to them. This is a really hard subject for me. I've never committed suicide, but I know that there's been many times in my life when I felt like it would be easier if I wasn't here. And it saddens me so much to see that because of bullying, we have a young lady that's ended her life. I think it's tremendously sad, and that I heard from my daughter today that there's a lot of kids at the school that are regretting now, not, taking more of a chance to get to know her. Unfortunately, it's too late. We need to catch this in the beginning and show people that, the damage that you do. Words are very, very harsh and they hurt. Sometimes a word can slap you harder across the face than if somebody actually slapped you across the face. So, please be safe, and please, if you're having concerns or thoughts or opinions, please let me know. And let's get reconnected with our kids over the summer so that when school starts next year, we can put them in an environment where not everybody is going to be afraid to go to school. We're not going to have 160,000 kids that avoid going to school because of being bullied. Or we don't have any more senseless, tragic passings of little girls. It's time to stop. So that's about all I have for tonight. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Until next time, please be safe and God bless.